2021, I need that ammo now.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Chicago PD, Season 10, Episode 16 review. Arturo Morales was able to be detained by Chicago PD. Warning, spoilers ahead, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. The 16th episode of Season 10 of Chicago PD went back to the fundamentals, bringing back the cage, the grimy atmosphere, and Voight's renegade behavior for all the right reasons. And all of that was part of Jesse Lee Soffer's strategy. In his first episode as director, the actor who played Jay Halstead for 10 seasons said he wanted the show to have an old-school PD flavor, and it did just that. In all honesty, no one is more familiar with the show than the man who has spent the last 10 years working on the set to bring the magic to the screen. Halstead's debut as a director was undoubtedly noteworthy, putting forth yet another captivating hour of television and solidifying my conviction that this is, in fact, one of Chicago PD's best seasons to date. Putting Voight at the center of it all and giving him his own badass moment that involved him eliminating two of Arturo Morales' goons by himself, bringing Julia back home, and making sure that he pursued the case through to its conclusion, with Morales finally receiving what was coming to him and seeing a life sentence, had a poetic quality to it as well. You could tell Morales was stressed after the jury's decision because he thought he had the case won. Unbeknownst to him, Voight was working the case, and in contrast to Assat Chapman, he was prepared to break the law in order to achieve his goals. Because of this, Hank Voight has endured as the hero that Chicago not only wants but also needs, despite some dubious methods over the years. He largely contributes to the improvement and safety of the city. Whatever way he can, he takes care of the bad folks. He has a reputation for a reason, and even though some people may disagree with his choices and strategies, he is respected for a good cause. Isn't it what you expect from the men who guard you, to be resourceful and get things done? PD episodes that deviate from the script are some of the greatest. Even though it may not always be the appropriate thing to do in the eyes of the law, it is what enables them to perform the duties that they are so skilled at. Why would he want to ruin his own business before getting a chance to prove himself? If he had followed the rules, he would have sealed Julia's destiny and rescheduled Morales' case, leaving open the potential that justice would never be served and that a violent, dangerous guy who had no respect for other people would go free. Chapman can stand her own against Voight, which can't be said for many people, plus he respects the hell out of her. There's a good vibe there, so hopefully they can find their way back to being supportive colleagues who can depend on each other when the pressures of the job get too much. Voight needs someone outside of his own unit, and who is a little closer to his age and mindset, to decompress with. Chapman isn't Al Allingsley or Antonio Dawson, but she's gone through her fair share of hardships, and she's a good person to have in your corner. Few people can match Chapman's ability to hold her own against Voight, and he also has nothing but respect for her. The atmosphere is positive, so maybe they can return to being helpful coworkers who can rely on one another when the demands of the job become too much. Voight wants a buddy outside of his own unit who is a little older and more like him to help him unwind. Chapman is not Al Allingsley or Antonio Dawson, but she has had her share of challenges and is a strong ally to have. Torres and Haley undoubtedly contributed to the downfall of Morales and the discovery of Julia, but it was largely Voight's show. He even went completely black before entering the safe house, which is something that others would have faced punishment for in the past and may have had disastrous consequences. I do hope he recognizes, though, that he can always rely on his team, whenever and wherever, and that his decisions seem to be motivated by his desire not to involve anybody else in a situation that might be used against them in the future. They all try their hardest, but if there's one thing they, and the audience, know all too well, it's that when it comes to the law, things are rarely truly black and white. We constantly operate in that gray region. They have gone above and beyond to make the best decisions possible given the circumstances. Due to Julia's condition as well as the jury's deliberations, the case involved a bit of a race against time. Voight had to move quickly if he wanted to have a chance of success because Morales' men never intended to return her in one piece, thus they didn't care that she had suffered blunt trauma to the head and lost too much blood. When they came across Ochoa's cancer-stricken brother at the stash house full of massive amounts of cocaine, he discovered the entryway he was looking for. Although it's important to note that this was all a front and that Voight never intended to harm Felipe, they simply used him as a negotiating chip. It's important to note that Voight knew he had discovered Ochoa's weakness and was eager to exploit it at any cost. Voight may take shots, but he never drags down an innocent person to get what he needs. As a longtime fan of the program, I absolutely loved seeing Voight kick some asses. It proves that there are still plenty of stories to be told as far as his character is concerned, and even though he's an ever-evolving human, he won't apologize for being his real self. Voight is the policeman in a dress shirt too. Chef's kiss. Thank you for watching.